Well, it's tomato time. I'm out here with Joelle. We're out at Smith Berry Barn, and we have tomatoes.
We do.
And so, it's getting to be, it's late summer, early fall. We had a little break in the weather there with the smoke and the cooler weather, but things are, back together, and we're still harvesting.
We are. I mean, deceivingly, late September is one of the best, it is the best time for tomatoes. We've had plenty of time for them to ripen, particularly the Romas, which tend to be later in the season, which is what we're working on today.
Right. There's people that are looking in their plants now that, may still have an abundance of fruit left on their plants. They're trying to figure out, what do we do with this before the weather turns, before I don't have any more time.
Exactly.
And so, we've talked about, canning them and baking them, but you can also just freeze them, right?
Yep, that's what we're going to do today, because especially if you don't have a lot all at once, you can freeze them in short, small amounts, or you can do a large amount all at once. You just keep adding to it if you have a few tomatoes every day, or you can wait and do all of your tomatoes together. So it's super convenient.
Right. And so today we've gone through and we're doing more of kind of a blanch method, right?
Exactly. So what we've done is we have blanched, you actually cut the nice little slit in the bottom of the tomato, and we then dunked them in some boiling water for about 30 seconds until it releases the skin, and then in a little bit of ice bath for a minute or so, and then the skin just peels off really easily. And that's, you don't have to do this. I oftentimes will skip this step, but then I have to deal with the skins later. So it kind of depends if you want to deal with them now or deal with them later.
Or kind of what you want to do with your tomatoes later,
exactly.
Right?
I think we talked earlier, if you are making a sauce and you want to use a blender or puree it, you don't necessarily have to take the skins off. So this is an extra step. It's really nice to take the time to do it, but you don't have to do it.
Yeah, because you could save them for later and do it after you've made a soup and pick some of the skins out.
Exactly.
Now you're using the Roma types now.
So you and I are both going to be doing two different techniques. Your technique is, do you want to tell us about your technique?
So I've taken mine. So after they've been peeled, I just tend to chop mine up. I don't take the seeds or anything out, because I usually use mine in the winter times. I'll use a lot of them in soups and stews.
Okay.
And so I just chop them into chunks like this. And then when I'm done, I'm just putting them in a freezer Ziploc bag.
Straight into the Ziploc bag.
And so it makes it super easy for me, because I use them as kind of like a stewed tomato.
Exactly.
And so once I have my bags full, I will just seal them up and stick them in the freezer. I'll label them as to, it's 4 cups or 2 cups, so I just kind of have an idea of what it is.
Perfect.
And in the wintertime, when I'm doing a crock pot soup or a crock pot stew, I can just dump that in instead of using like a canned stuff, and it's super easy to.
Exactly. And you don't mind the seeds.
I don't mind the seed in mine, because I typically have it where it's cooking down in that crock pot all day long anyway. But it's just an easy way to have it frozen.
Okay. I don't mind the seeds either. Like I already said, I technically don't mind the skins. So, but I am showing today how to de-seed them. You just want to do a little bit of it. I use my thumbs, but you can also use a spoon if you're averse to using your fingers for it. I'm taking a little bit of the core out. I do have a little coring tool.
Which is a nice little tool, because otherwise you are left with some of the
which
pieces
you can
cut off if you wanted to, too,
exactly.
but that's kind of a nice way just to.
And then I just take my thumbs and I'm putting it in the wrong bowl.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all right. But there's also, different tomatoes have different juiciness levels too.
Right.
So we tend to be, right now we're using more of a Roma type. We tend to have a little bit less juice and less seeds than some of the other tomatoes.
And one of the ideas behind removing some of this is to take some of the extra moisture out, because when you do freeze, you know that you get a little bit of extra moisture that can freeze inside the tomatoes. So you can see my tray here of some that have already frozen individually on the tray for about an hour, and then I would just take these and put them again in the same, I'd probably go into a larger Ziploc
like
bag.
Like a gallon zipper bag.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then that would be my equally, good method.
Right.
So,
and when they're individually frozen like this, it's kind of nice too, because then when you're using them, you can pull out.
Right, if I'm doing a little smaller recipe.
Right. Whereas when you're putting them in here and then freezing them this way, they tend to be more of a solid chunk.
And you can add to that bag. So if you keep doing it this way, you can just kind of keep adding to your, if I just had a few of these, I would toss them in there, and then I could keep adding to that bag, and it keeps them loose.
Right. And so what more are you using yours for? Are you using them for sauces, or are you using them for soups and
The
stews?
same thing as you. Yeah. Chili, we do a lot of crock pot things just like you're talking about. So pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, so it's just kind of what you're wanting to cook and how you're preparing them.
Or how much effort you want to put into
Right.
it, honestly. Sometimes I run out of time, and so I do it the fastest way I possibly can. Like these still have their skins on. I just, I did take the seeds out a little bit, but I
Right.
left the skins on. And when I cook them, I'll just have, the skins will somewhat float off of them while cooking. And then if I'm bothered by it, I'll just pick them
Just
out.
scoop them off.
Or if I'm pureeing, I'll just puree it right in.
Now you guys have a large selection of tomatoes growing right now. So
We
you're
do.
open for U-pick.
Yep, we're
and
open
pre-pick,
for
right?
U-pick and ready-picked. We also will take orders, so if you're interested in a larger volume for canning, like a 40 to 50 pound amount, we can also do that for you and pick them for you.
Yeah, but you do want to make sure you have a reservation.
Exactly,
U-pick
we're
right now, right?
reservation only right now because of the health situation that we're in. That's not normally the case, but right now, yes.
Right, so they can come out here or get onto your website, get your reservation made, or you can come out to the store and get the pre-picked or pick your own.
Exactly.
And mix and match and try different types of tomatoes and different styles to see what you like. But it's a great time of year to get your produce, kind of getting ready for the end of the year. So make sure you come out and visit your website, and it's always a pleasure to be out here and get all sorts of new tips and tricks. So,
Thank you.
Joel, I appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us out.